There comes a moment in every life when comfort feels like a coffin, soft, familiar, and deadly. Most people spend their days chasing approval, waiting for the right time, praying for change instead of becoming it. But deep down, you know you were never built to be average. You were born to be that unstoppable force, that unshakable storm that doesn't ask for permission. It makes its own path. This is about version 2 of you. The one who doesn't flinch at failure, doesn't freeze in fear, and doesn't settle for less than greatness. You've been through hell, but that's exactly what forged your fire. You've been doubted, broken, underestimated, and yet you're still standing. That's your proof. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs your full power. Raw, fearless, unapologetic. It's time to stop negotiating with your potential. Stop waiting for the right moment. The right moment is the second you decide to rise, the second you say, I'm done playing small, because when you unlock that version of yourself, the one that refuses to quit, that thrives under pressure, you don't just change your life, you change the game. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, your sharpest blade, and the silent force that molds you into who you were meant to be. Every time you step into something that makes your heart race, your palms sweat, and your mind scream for safety, you're standing at the edge of transformation. Growth never comes wrapped in ease. It's always disguised as challenge, struggle, and uncertainty. The people who rise above the noise of mediocrity aren't the ones who run from discomfort. They're the ones who chase it, wrestle with it, and learn to use it as fuel. Because when you get comfortable being uncomfortable, the world can't hold you back anymore. The truth is, comfort kills ambition. It seduces you with routine, makes you forget your hunger, and whispers lies like you're doing fine, when deep inside you know you're meant for more. The gym of greatness has no soft mats, no easy reps. It's built from late nights, early mornings, rejections, and the ache of pushing past limits. Every moment you choose to lean into discomfort, you are rewiring your brain, training your body, and strengthening your spirit to handle the weight of your dreams. You cannot demand a powerful life and expect a painless one. Pain is the proof of progress, the evidence that you're alive and evolving. Look back at the times that shaped you the most. They weren't the moments when everything went smoothly. They were the storms, the heartbreaks, the failures that made you question everything. But what happened after those moments? You adapted, you learned, you became more. Discomfort forced you to stretch beyond your excuses and uncover a strength you didn't even know existed. That's what growth feels like. It doesn't feel good, it feels necessary. The mind's first instinct is to protect you, to pull you away from anything that threatens your peace or challenges your control. But that same instinct also traps you in cycles of comfort. You end up replaying the same days, the same patterns, the same dreams deferred, until one day you realize you've been surviving instead of living. And that realization, painful as it may be, is the doorway to your transformation. Every extraordinary life begins with that moment of truth, the realization that comfort is costing you your potential. Discomfort tests your discipline. When everything feels heavy, when you want to quit, when you're tired of trying and seeing no results, those are the moments that define your destiny. Anyone can feel motivated when it's easy, when applause is loud and success feels close. But true power shows up in silence, in those lonely, unseen hours when it's just you versus your excuses. You have to train yourself to see discomfort as a signal, not a setback. It's the universe asking, how bad do you want this? Because if you can't endure the friction, you'll never experience the breakthrough. Every uncomfortable situation you face is a mirror showing you who you are and who you could be. When you're rejected, it reveals your resilience. When you fail, it reveals your humility. When you're challenged, it reveals your courage. The people who succeed aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They're just willing to stay in the fire long enough to let it forge them. They understand that every burn, every bruise, every scar carries the blueprint of strength. Discomfort also destroys the illusion of perfection. It teaches you to accept imperfection as part of the process. You'll stumble, you'll fall, you'll embarrass yourself, but that's how mastery begins. Nobody becomes great without first being awkward, uncertain, and uncomfortable. The process is ugly, but the result is beautiful. Each time you push through the pain of inexperience, you build competence. Each time you endure failure, you gain wisdom. The path to becoming unstoppable is paved with moments that once terrified you. The reason most people never reach their full potential isn't because they lack talent. It's because they run from discomfort too soon. They start something, feel resistance, and interpret that resistance as a sign to stop. But resistance is a signal that you're moving in the right direction. The heavier the resistance, the greater the growth waiting on the other side. Just like a muscle only strengthens when it's torn and rebuilt, your mind and spirit grow only when they're tested. The most powerful individuals in history weren't born fearless, they were built in fire. They were the ones who kept walking when others turned back. They learned to transform discomfort into focus, fear into fuel, and pain into purpose. That's the secret, not avoiding the struggle, but converting it into momentum. Every time you face discomfort, you are sharpening your edge, expanding your capacity, and preparing yourself for the next level. If you want to build a life that truly matters, you must learn to love the grind, the uncertainty, the challenge, the discomfort, because that's where real power lives. The road to greatness doesn't have shortcuts or safety nets. It's steep, unpredictable, and unforgiving. But if you can keep moving through the storm, you'll discover that discomfort isn't your punishment. It's your preparation. It's sculpting you into the version of yourself capable of holding everything you've been dreaming of. Embrace it. Sit with it. Let it teach you. The fire you're feeling isn't there to burn you. It's there to build you. Waiting is the silent killer of dreams. It's the invisible chain that holds countless people back. The quiet voice that says, "Well, not yet." It disguises itself as patience, preparation, and logic, but in reality, it's fear wearing a clever mask. The truth is, there is no perfect time. There never was, and there never will be. The stars will never align just right. The conditions will never be flawless, and you'll never feel completely ready. If you keep waiting for the right moment, life will pass you by while you rehearse for a performance that never begins. The second you decide to rise, that's when everything starts to change. That's the instant the power shifts from uncertainty to action. Every person who ever made a mark on the world started before they felt ready. They began when everything was messy, unclear, and uncertain. They didn't wait for confidence, they created it through movement. Because motion builds momentum and momentum builds mastery. You can spend your entire life collecting plans, studying strategies, visualizing outcomes, but none of it matters if you don't take that first step. The mind loves comfort and predictability, but greatness requires chaos and courage. You have to be willing to take that leap when the outcome is unknown, when failure feels close, and when doubt is screaming in your ear. That's the space where transformation begins. The illusion of the right time is one of the most dangerous traps we fall into. We tell ourselves we'll start the business when we save more money, pursue the dream when we're less busy, or chase the goal when we feel inspired again. But inspiration doesn't come before action. It comes from action. The moment you start moving, your mind shifts, your energy rises, and the universe begins to respond. The second you show life that you're serious, life starts meeting you halfway. But it's waiting for your signal, your decision, your first step. Deciding to rise is not a one-time event. It's a daily commitment. Every morning you wake up, you face a choice: rise or remain. Remain where it's safe, predictable, and small, or rise into uncertainty, challenge, and potential. Rising doesn't always mean dramatic change. Sometimes it means doing one uncomfortable thing today that your old self would have avoided. It means breaking your own limits one decision at a time. Each time you rise despite fear, you weaken fear's control over you. It begins to shrink while your belief expands. There's a reason most people never access their full potential. They wait to feel ready. Readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide you're ready, and that decision makes you ready. You don't wait to be fearless to act. You act until fear loses its power. Every great transformation starts with a simple choice: to move. The first step might be clumsy, awkward, uncertain, but that's how every legend begins. The greatest failure is not falling down, it's never starting. You have to understand that hesitation has a cost. Every moment you hesitate, you delay the life you could be living. Time doesn't wait, opportunities don't pause, and potential doesn't stay patient. When you postpone action, you strengthen your habit of inaction. You teach your mind to stall, to question, to overthink, and soon hesitation becomes your identity. But the moment you act, you break that chain. You prove to yourself that courage isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and doing it anyway. Action changes everything. It silences doubt because it replaces theory with experience. It destroys fear because fear can't survive movement. Once you start, momentum takes over and suddenly the impossible begins to shrink. That's why you can't wait for confidence. You build it by doing the things that scare you. You can read every motivational book in the world, listen to every speech and plan every detail, but until you take action, it's all potential energy waiting to be released. The difference between success and stagnation isn't talent, it's timing, and the time is always now. When you decide to rise, something powerful happens within you. Your energy shifts. You start thinking differently, speaking differently, carrying yourself differently. You begin to align with the version of yourself that's been waiting to emerge. You stop being a spectator in your own story and become the author of it. Rising means taking ownership, not blaming circumstances, not waiting for approval, not making excuses. It means saying, if it's going to happen, it starts with me. The world rewards the bold, not the hesitant. The people who take imperfect action often outperform those waiting for perfection, because perfection never comes, but progress always does when you move. The path reveals itself only after you begin walking. You can't steer a parked car. You have to get it moving before you can change direction. That's how life works too. Action creates clarity, and clarity leads to power. The fear of starting is natural, but the pain of regret is far worse. You'll never regret trying, you'll regret waiting. Every person who hesitated before you has learned that truth in time. The years go by, and suddenly, what once felt too early becomes too late. The chances you thought would come again vanish. That's why rising now matters more than anything, because right now is all you truly have. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and yesterday can't be changed. The present moment is your invitation to rise. You have everything you need to begin: courage, potential, passion, and purpose, but none of it will awaken until you take that first step. The moment you act, even in the smallest way, you shift from hoping to creating, from dreaming to becoming. You become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you finally stopped waiting for it to be. There is a fire buried deep within every person. A raw, unfiltered power that most never touch because they're too busy trying to fit in, to please, to play it safe. But that power is waiting. It's the part of you that doesn't apologize for wanting more, that doesn't flinch when things get hard, that doesn't care what anyone thinks. It's your unapologetic, fearless potential. The version of you that walks into a room and doesn't seek permission to exist. The world doesn't need another version of someone else. It needs the full, unedited version of you. That's where greatness lives. And it's locked behind the cage of fear, doubt, and hesitation. To unleash it, you must be willing to stop hiding, stop shrinking, and stop waiting for validation. Fear disguises itself as logic. It tells you to stay quiet, stay humble, stay out of the spotlight. It convinces you that your dreams are too big, that you should tone them down so others feel comfortable. But fear is a liar. It feeds on hesitation and grows stronger every time you hold yourself back. The only way to destroy it is through exposure, by showing up again and again until fear realizes it no longer controls you. Confidence isn't built in silence. It's forged in moments of action, in the times you speak even when your voice shakes, in the times you stand tall even when your knees tremble. Every act of courage, no matter how small, chips away at the walls that separate you from your true power. Being unapologetic doesn't mean being arrogant. It means being real. It means owning your truth, your scars, your story without shame. It's about standing in your light even when others try to dim it. The world will always have opinions, judgments, and labels, but none of them define you. What defines you is how boldly you choose to live despite them. You can't wait for people to understand you before you move. You can't wait for approval before you act. Because if you do, you'll spend your life living by their limits instead of your potential. There's a version of you that's unbreakable. It's the one that shows up when you've been counted out, the one that fights through exhaustion, rejection, and pain. That version doesn't need recognition, it just needs release. But it only appears when you push yourself beyond your comfort zone, when you stop saying, I can't, and start saying, watch me. When you stop seeking security and start chasing purpose, that's when your fearless potential begins to rise. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the timid. It rewards those who dare, the ones who speak when silence is expected, who create when doubt is loud, who act when everyone else hesitates. Every legend, every leader, every success story began with a decision to stop apologizing for wanting more. They didn't have it all figured out. They just decided to show up as their full, authentic selves. They understood that power doesn't come from pretending to be fearless. It comes from embracing fear and moving anyway. Fearless potential isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. It's the art of dancing with discomfort instead of running from it. You feel the fear, but you don't bow to it. You acknowledge it, but you don't let it dictate your choices. Every time you push forward despite fear, you expand your capacity. You build resilience, discipline, self-belief that no one can take away. And once you taste what it feels like to live fully, without apology, you'll never want to go back to the version of yourself that was too scared to try. You've spent too long dimming your light to make others feel comfortable, too long pretending you don't care, holding back your ideas, lowering your standards, and settling for less than what you deserve. But deep inside, you know you were made for more. You can feel it in the quiet moments when the noise fades and the truth gets louder. That voice inside you saying, "And you were not born to be average." That's your potential trying to wake you up. It's your reminder that you have something inside you that cannot be taught, cannot be copied, cannot be replicated. To unleash your full potential, you have to let go of the masks, the ones you wear to please others, to hide your doubts, to blend in. You have to get comfortable standing out, even if it means standing alone. Because when you stop seeking approval, you start finding purpose. And when you live with purpose, fear loses its grip on you. You begin to attract people, opportunities, and experiences that match your energy instead of drain it. You stop chasing validation because you finally realize you were never meant to ask for it in the first place. There's a wildness in authenticity, a kind of strength that comes from simply being yourself without filters or fear. The moment you embrace that, life starts shifting. The world responds differently to someone who knows who they are. Doors open, not because you're lucky, but because you've become magnetic. Unapologetic energy has power. It commands respect. It inspires others. It changes environments. But you have to be brave enough to live it. The journey to unleashing your fearless potential is not easy. It's filled with tests, challenges, and moments that demand more from you than you think you have. You'll question yourself, you'll doubt your worth, you'll face criticism and failure, but each of those moments is building you. They're stripping away weakness, exposing truth, and forcing you to rise. The pain you feel along the way is not punishment. It's proof that you're stepping into power. And with every step, you're becoming more of who you were meant to be. Unshakable, unstoppable, unapologetic. Pain is not the enemy. It is the birthplace of power. Every scar, every heartbreak, every setback has carved strength into your soul, whether you realize it or not. The world tells you to avoid pain, to numb it, to hide from it, but those who truly rise know that pain is a signal. It means growth is happening. It's the body's way of saying you're alive, you're evolving, you're breaking past limits that once held you down. The difference between the broken and the unbreakable isn't pain. It's what they do with it. Some let it bury them, others build empires from it. When you experience pain, you stand at a crossroads. You can let it define you, or you can let it refine you. Pain will whisper that you're done, that it's over, that you've lost too much, but hidden beneath that suffering is the seed of strength. The people who turn their pain into power are the ones who look it straight in the face and say, "You will not break me, you will build me." Every challenge, every loss, every disappointment is a test. And with each test, you're being shaped into something greater. The fire that burns you today is forging the armor you'll need tomorrow. We live in a world obsessed with avoiding discomfort. Everyone wants success, but few are willing to endure the pain it demands. They want the trophy without the training, the reward without the risk, the victory without the scars. But pain is the price of transformation. You can't strengthen a muscle without tearing its fibers, and you can't strengthen your mind or spirit without facing struggle. Every hardship you've endured was not random. It was preparation. It was the universe sharpening you for the battles ahead. Think of the most powerful people you know, the leaders, creators, warriors. None of them got there without pain. Behind every success story is a chapter of suffering that no one sees. Behind every confident smile is a history of silent battles, sleepless nights, and moments when giving up seemed easier. Pain doesn't destroy those who learn to use it. It becomes their teacher. It gives them depth, empathy, and unshakable resilience. They don't rise because life is easy. They rise because life is hard, and they kept moving anyway. When you stop running from pain and start facing it, something extraordinary happens. You begin to transform it. You start seeing patterns, lessons, and meaning in the moments that once broke you. You realize that every heartbreak taught you how to love yourself more fiercely. Every failure taught you how to move smarter. Every rejection showed you where your real direction lies. Pain strips away illusion, it reveals truth. It shows you who your real friends are, what really matters, and what kind of strength lives within you. The mind tries to protect you from pain by retreating, by building walls, by convincing you to avoid risk. But those same walls that keep pain out also keep purpose locked in. You cannot find greatness without vulnerability, without the willingness to fall and rise again. The process is brutal, but it's beautiful because pain wakes you up. It reminds you that you're still in the fight, still capable of change, still powerful enough to keep going. You've been through things that others wouldn't have survived, and yet here you are, breathing, standing, pushing forward. That's not weakness, that's power. You faced pain that should have broken you, but instead it carved resilience into your bones. Every scar tells a story of endurance. Every wound you've healed from is proof that nothing can hold you forever. Pain doesn't mean you're cursed, it means you're being called higher. The universe tests the strong because it knows they can handle it. Turning pain into power means shifting your perspective. It means seeing every obstacle as an opportunity, every loss as a lesson, every moment of struggle as a spark. Instead of asking, why me? You start asking, what is this teaching me? You stop being the victim of your story and start becoming its author. Pain is raw energy. It's emotion, focus, intensity. If you can channel it instead of drowning in it, it becomes rocket fuel. It gives you a sense of urgency, clarity, and purpose that comfort could never provide. The people who change the world are rarely those who've lived easy lives. They're the ones who've been through darkness and refused to stay there. They've taken their pain and turned it into art, innovation, compassion, and strength. They've used it as a compass, guiding them toward their mission. Pain gives birth to empathy, and empathy gives birth to leadership. The most powerful leaders are the ones who have felt what it means to be broken and use that understanding to lift others up. When you harness your pain, you stop being afraid of it. You start trusting it. You recognize it as the force that refines your edges, that pushes you toward your destiny. Every time you rise from a painful fall, you gather fragments of wisdom, courage, and humility. You learn that pain is not permanent. It's a passage. You walk through it, and on the other side, you find a version of yourself that is stronger, clearer, and more grounded than ever before. You can't fake the strength that pain gives you. It's real, raw, and earned. It gives you presence. It gives you gravity. It gives you that look in your eyes that tells the world you've been through storms and survived them. And that's why people feel your power when you speak, when you act, when you lead, because it's not borrowed, it's built. It's the kind of strength that can't be bought or taught. It can only be forged. Pain doesn't take your power away. It reveals where it was hiding all along.